I'll give you a call, on Wednesday, and let you know where we're at with it, so.
Thursday?
Yeah, we'll shoot for Thursday, I think. Awesome. Thanks, Sharon.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I just need three. Can you get them from the Legion tomorrow?
I can't.
Some off.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Get that out, text us. I sent both you guys got a chance to go. What they said.
I don't know.
It's probably the city.
No, but you're right.
Oh, okay.
I
I said, well, I wish today, maybe I could do a truck on.
Give them a call and
I'll
we'll
wait a couple of days, come back to that other one.
Yeah, there you go.
PGE.
Right.
All right, it's 6 o'clock. I'd like to, call to order the committee of the whole. We're gonna start. Do you wanna do that one?
No, I can do it. Scott?
Here.
Sherry?
Yes.
Cheryl? Here. Terry? Marilyn? Here. David?
Here.
And we're gonna start off by doing the Pledge of Allegiance. So everybody stand. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we do have a couple of guests here, so we're gonna go ahead and have them, go through their presentations. So we don't have to keep them for one more time meeting. We have Bertie Petro.
My name is Bernie Petro. I work for W.E. Quicksall and Associates. Glenn Griswold works there as well, one of our young engineers out of the Youngstown office. So basically, specifically, a couple months ago, I got a call from the wastewater treatment plant operator, Bill Pennington, regarding the leaking Evoqua disc filters. And they're relatively new, and relatively meaning 5 years old, but they're out of the warranty period. And the stainless steel wells are leaking. I believe the warranty was not in effect. I guess it was out of warranty. So a couple options that, basically we brought a contractor in from APO Horo to give us his opinion. And he came up with a plan to save the two disc filters. To replace each one of them, just in material, $355,000 each. Then you get into all the piping and installation and that stuff. But I believe he gave the village a price of $85,000 to re-weld each one of them. And the thought was to weld one, obviously, see if it works. Now, he has told me, I think he's told Bill and yourself, that he feels that if you go through the weld process in the stainless steel welding is specific. Do you have a?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I printed out.
Pass these out. It's a procedure. Some of the stainless steel weld criteria that's different than just normal welding. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just some nuances to it. It's not terribly different, but.
So he, with their expertise, they're one of the larger construction firms in this area. They have the expertise in-house they have expert welders. So, with that proposal, I sent a proposal to you, Ron, last week, and, it was to have us oversee, just to act as eyes and ears for the village, to make sure that all the filler material is proper, and to basically coordinate the activity. And we think this could save the village, the monies from actually going in and replacing. It has to be done. And, I would suggest that the village kind of declare an emergency, so it doesn't have to go through the full bidding process. If you wanna go through the bidding process, that could be done, it would just take time. So, you know, I believe that a leaky disc filter, yeah, that can be considered as an emergency. And, I'm sticking I recommend that you at least try the one. I believe it'll work. All the other equipment inside, and I did bring along pass that right. This is what we're talking about.
Okay.
And, I think that's a quote that they gave, one of the quotes that was presented to the village for $255,000. Anyway, so I'm here to answer any questions, if you have any. Obviously, we would, like to be involved in if there's funding available. Well, there's always funding available. Let me rephrase that. We can help you with the applications to get funding, maybe not for this specific one, but for other work that has to be done in the wastewater plant and throughout the system. And whether it be water, roadway, whatever. So, if you have any questions, just,
I gave them that quote that you had presented, excuse me, and, I told them that, you could elaborate on a little bit if you don't mind, but that you guys are a smaller firm, and that you would like to do a lot of the engineering
yeah.
for the village,
Yeah.
whether it be
Yeah,
OPWC. And you do have an in-house grant writer
Yeah.
that would help get some of these fundings, like maybe even, our wastewater plant, like I said, is kind of limited on funds, so even if the 80-some thousand, that's still a lot of money if we can get help with it, or even look to see
Yeah.
if there's something, is that something that?
It's, well, for Portage County, OPWC, it's that season again, those applications are due in May. So we could scope projects out for you. I think a couple years ago, we did the Maple Grove sanitary sewer. We could update that quote, stamp it, and that could be right in the application. Because other villages are doing it as well. So it's go in there and fight, fight for your share of the pie.
If the deadline, excuse me, I'm sorry if I could interrupt real quick. If the deadline is in May, when is the grant awarded?
Probably by August, I believe. Yeah. They go through the grant applications and, by August it would be awarded. Like Ryan said, we have a grant writer. She's a lawyer, she's on staff, and she not only writes the grants, she administers the grants. Because, when you get the grants, there's certain criteria that's required from plans, stamped engineering estimates, drawdowns from the contractors and so on and so forth. So, we have a large amount of small cities that we adhere to. Every small city, no matter how small. I mean, we have, for example, the village of Nashville, 189 people. It's in Ohio. And they got a grant 2 years ago, $2 million for a water tank. And it just, they're in that, they happen to be in the Appalachian area, so there was funding there, and there was a lot of COVID money that was distributed to them. But, yeah, there's a bunch of small towns that we are engineers in, and they get their fair, let me just put it, they get their fair share of free grant money. And so I thought, why not Windham? So,
I think like a really high percentage of our towns got awarded
yeah,
this past
yeah,
year. We got
yeah.
like 95% or something
Yeah.
like that.
yeah, so it's,
Did you help with the, grant process for Nashville?
yeah, that was ODOD. It was ODOD.
You guys
And
wrote
the initial, no, so we got an extra money with ODOD, but the initial grant was, I believe, the Appalachian funding grant. And once again, a village of 189 people, and I hate to, bring that up, but they have a water plant, and EPA is as strict with them as they are with anybody else. So they have requirements and they have to adhere to them, so, they don't get a free pass on a notice of violation just because they're a small town, so.
We have 3 or 4 projects that we'd like to initiate. If Ryan could get a hold of you and if we could see if we can find any funding out there. Some of them are, what are we looking at total? They're a couple $100,000, right?
For the water plant or wastewater?
Yeah.
Yeah, the head works, the filters, that drain and the backup generator, probably
Yeah.
450 to 500,000.
That's what, so basically we're doing, right now, so what we would do is we'd have to get under contract with the village. Would come out and do a scope it out, price it out, put a scope together, engineer stamp it, and, we usually come up with a summary of why we need the grant, and, with our grant administrator, she comes up with the certain words that have to be included.
Catchphrases, yeah.
Everyone's looking for, like, it could be anything from, imminent threat to life and health, so, we would gear it to try to get, to be successful, so, yeah, I think, our batting average is, obviously, we don't bat 1,000, but we're pretty close, and,
Katie's good at her job.
yeah.
Can you tell me what the contract would entail?
Pardon me?
The contract with the village, like if we sign the
Well,
contract?
right, I did bring one for the filters, so let me just show you that.
Sarah, you need to see this?
No, I'm good, I've seen some of this already, but thank you.
I put this together and that's just the proposal I sent you. That's something like that. That represents the proposal we sent. It's an amount not to exceed, so we won't do anything unless you tell us you want us to do something. And then we will let you know how much it would cost approximately.
What's the initial cost for you to come out?
Pardon me?
What's the initial cost just for you to come out and evaluate?
Okay, I mean, probably you're thinking this is to come out and go through the wastewater plant, probably under $1,000, to have a team come out and just spend 3 or 4 or 5 hours, going through, shock drawings, listening to the operator as to what he has done. Yeah, it just, you know, it's just a matter of time, you know, we're the product, that's what we do. And, but we'll give you, before we do anything, we'll let you know about how much time it would take and what it would cost. And we think it would be beneficial to be ahead of the game in regards to, even with plan approval or plan preparation. If you had projects ready to go, that means so much more to the committee that's looking at, you know, who gets the grant or who doesn't. If they could just say go, rather than waiting a year to have the plans, you know, prepared and so on. So it's, yeah, I think the reason on the disc filter, I mean, we could go and submit a complete set of plans and go out to bid and so on, but it would just take time, and this is sort of an emergency, so.
Does it not have to go to bid? So we're,
Over 75,000 has to go
75
bid,
is,
unless it's an emergency. That's the kicker, so it's up to you, we can go out to bid. Probably in this area, just, cause APO Horo does a lot of the probably does most of the wastewater treatment plant work around here.
so how can we be sure this company would do it right this time and we're not in the same boat that we are in now in 5 years?
Well, we would make sure, we would have the stainless steel spec, and we would monitor if we're using the right flux, the right temperature, what the right gases.
Gases,
Yeah,
yeah,
there's
clean
certain-
is like you have to clean it beforehand.
Yeah, and it's
heat
a matter of
pre-
cleaning it
post.
afterwards.
Yeah.
That probably wasn't done initially the first time. And we're just speculating, but it's globally, I mean, it's not just one well, it's all the wells, so.
Yeah.
But all the equipment on the inside is in good shape. So even if you replaced them in whole, you still could use the insides as replacements. You know, so
Was it gonna provide a warranty with that?
that's what we're gonna find out before we even sign a contract with APO Oil. Cause they'd have to provide some type of warranty.
Right.
And it should be at least for 1 year, because that would give you a whole cycle of use. And maybe we could ask for more, you know. But we would entertain that, and those are some of the things. So what I would suggest is agreeing to do it, and then having a meeting with them and getting everything ironed out. Probably your solicitor may want to be there as well, because, you know, we want to make sure the contractual language in the contract is equal to the spec for stainless steel wells. We just want to make sure that it's done right this time.
Last time we did this, we got a 5-year warranty. And I'd say it started leaking after, what, about 2 years?
Yeah.
And so, we looked at it, and the problem we ran into is we had the engineering firm pointing at the people that actually produced the work, it was their fault. They were pointing at the engineer firm, and we couldn't get any.
Did it ever go to court?
Our solicitor said it would cost us more to go to court to try to,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
so we,
Okay, so what I'm hearing, you're talking, you want a 5-year warranty, or is that?
well, whatever the warranty is, it would be nice if we felt,
Yeah, because if it started leaking after 2 years, so whatever they did kind of worked for 2 years. So a
Right.
1-year warranty wouldn't do us any good.
yeah, it just, I know there's no guarantees in life, but
I said that was only within 2 years out of a 5-year, and we got nothing out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, we had, everyone came in, and so what the problem was, hey, yeah, they put in the wrong wells.
Yeah, I heard the one that really threw me was the manufacturer said, just take it out and send it back and we'll.
Right.
I took that as a slap in the face,
Yeah.
basically,
No engineer, but I even
Yeah.
realized that wasn't
yeah.
feasible.
But in talking to Tom Messinger from AP Borough, he said, Murray, I assure you that we can fix this. And they got a big reputation, so, and I'd have to try it. I'd have to recommend to try it.
Yeah, 'cause the
In
only
your
thing-
opinion, then, should we try to, look for funding for this, or should we, it's too close to try that, and we should try to fund this one ourselves?
I would, could look for funding at any time.
Okay,
Okay, we could look for funding, and even if it's a low interest loan,
right,
those low interest loans to be paid back over 20 years, it's almost like free money. So,
Yeah.
I mean, realistically speaking, it's like 0.3%.
like you said, that's job one. We got several other ones that we would
Yeah.
like to get going as
Yeah,
well.
We're on, we wanna be on board, we're half.
We are looking for someone to get that done for us.
This would be perfect for us. We have a youngster, well, and actually, we're moving to Canfield, so we're basically a half hour, 35
Right.
minutes away.
Mr. Pedro, we got a question back
Yeah,
here.
actually, I have a question for you, sir. On the welds of those tanks, so are they grinding them completely out and then redoing it, or, and the reason I'm asking is, cause there's rust there. Okay?
Yeah.
Stainless steel doesn't rust, so it's either contaminated stainless
It's
or
it's definitely
contaminated raw.
contaminated. They're gonna do the SBC 10 white blast.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
they
they're
have to.
completely
do that.
cleaning it,
We'll
okay.
make sure they do that.
Okay.
That's a priority for
Cause
sure.
I mean, if it's
Yeah.
a true stainless material and weld, there's no reason it should leak, no reason it should
No,
rust,
but it's-
it should live.
But it has
should
a
be-
high quality. I mean, it's really, you gotta clean it.
No, and
again.
trust me, I totally understand what you're saying, but I'm kinda going back to what they're saying too, is if it's done right, there's no reason you should be able to do this, spend 8,500 grand every couple of years to fix welds. That's kinda where I'm going at, that's why I'm asking.
No, we shouldn't have to do it again. I would expect not to do it again.
And like if you did the first tank, and I know
Yeah.
I'm throwing out a big hypothetical, but if it doesn't work, I mean, there's
We're not
85 grand or 100 grand down the drain that, I
Yeah.
mean, it's coming from somewhere.
Yeah, so that's the conundrum.
Okay.
You spend $355 on each or 85 to try to fix it, a relatively new.
Right.
Yeah, that's a conundrum.
Yeah, the
So, I
only
mean-
thing worse than 365,000 on a new one is
That's just for the
paying
material.
80 before it.
That's just for the material, not to take the old one out, and, so you probably could double that. So you're probably talking about a $1.4 million project versus, so
Yeah.
it's our recommendation, it's your call. You know.
Well, I'm
Well,
a resident,
I
man,
mean,
but I have questions,
the
so,
building.
I mean, it's,
Have you ever worked with the funding department for the EPA? Because I know they have 0%.
Yeah,
They have 0% loans,
Yeah.
that's. a little
yeah,
better.
you've talked to Katie, haven't you?
I called down there and,
Yeah.
anytime I call someone, they're on vacation, like I picked a great
Okay,
time.
she did.
I need to call back down there.
Yeah. Give me an email me, then I'll
Oh,
set
you
up.
mean to Katie at your office?
Yeah, at
No,
our-
I have not, no.
Okay. Yeah, we need to set up a conference call with
Yeah.
her, maybe tomorrow or maybe Monday.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Yeah, and, just get all the, cause she's a wealth of information.
Yeah.
I would've brought her tonight, but I didn't know what what the status is with everything, so. But yeah, she would know all of that, more specifically.
We definitely would like to, get things going, and, we've been looking for a new engineering firm,
Yeah.
We're not real happy with the last ones we've had, so,
Give us a shot. I mean,
we would,
this is our wheelhouse, the smaller villages and
yeah.
we're close by, and we've been around for 65 years, so.
What do you need from us to get this thing going?
Probably that agreement there, if that can be executed in the next council meeting,
Okay.
it's just a $20,000 not to exceed, and then we could just go and, go look at the wastewater plant, the water plant, and try to put projects together before the May deadline. And, it may not be me all the time. We'll bring resources from New Philadelphia and from other engineers from our, Youngstown office, so. But, yeah, that's what we're doing right now in a lot of villages, just walking through wastewater plants. A lot of valves are bad. I mean, there's just a plethora of things that are wrong with these. I mean, typically, the wastewater plants are about 40 years old. That's when the funding started with, the Ohio EPA or the US EPA. And now they're hitting the stage where they're not working right. And it could be either the ozone, regulators, generators aren't working, or it could be the water filters are falling apart. So it's just a plethora of different, innuendo things in the plants that you just gotta keep up with it every year.
Yeah.
But, like the village of Brewster, and I hate to mention them, but yeah, they did all their road projects, so they're going for OPWC monies in August. That's down in Stark County, and they want us to just concentrate on the wastewater plant. So every year, they may have a different, priority, and this year it's wastewater plant. It just, yeah, they need upkeeping. In a lot of villages like Wintersville, they have an I&I problem, so we're in there, relining the lines and redoing the manholes. So those are nice projects that you just gotta keep up with it every year. Go for the funding, do what you can. Do you have a good rate base in your utility? Like your water utility and wastewater?
Yes,
It's competitive.
yeah,
Rates are pretty,
we're normally in the black, so.
okay. So, but yeah, getting back to your question of whether you wanna fund the Evoqua repairs with internal money or grant money, I would at least start it with internal money, then if we can go out and get grant money, we could supplement that. But I do think it's an emergency. That's not.
That's only gonna get worse, that's for sure.
Pardon me?
It's only gonna get worse.
Yeah, and yeah, so.
So for this one, we figure out how we wanna do the funding. And this is not to exceed 20,000. And then for the other project, as long as everybody's on board with it, you'll come out, will you be able to come out and look at, talk to Billy, see what the other things that need to be done?
Yeah.
For roughly $1,000, like you said, and then put something together and go through the funding for that.
Yeah,
I think that's.
there's no easy way. I mean, you have to walk through the plan.
Right.
I couldn't just,
Well, we've all agreed and, we've talked roughly, like, if we want these projects, they've gotta be engineered shovel ready. If you wanna get them, that's your best chance, best odds of getting them is have them shovel ready, so.
So you have you have Bill Pennington's the operator at the wastewater plant, and you have a water operator?
He's back there.
Okay, good. Yeah, so those are the guys we would want to talk to, specifically, to walk through the plant with them as well. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah,
So this is an annual thing, right?
this could be as long as you, yeah, it could
But
be,
if we, let's just say we start the contract,
Yeah.
it would renew every
Yeah,
year, correct? So we ran into an issue when I first, well, halfway through when I got in here. We had someone kind of do the same thing, and they would send emails, say they were doing this, send emails, say they were doing that. They even came out and wasted my gas for about 45 minutes, had me drive them around. Well, what I'm getting to is that they said all this, that, and the other, and they kept saying, well, we submitted this, we submitted that. We never got anything out of them. So is there anything in the contract to where if we don't get anything from it, it's voided to where
Yeah.
we wipe the slate clean?
well, basically, we have timesheets, our timesheets are kept, are computerized, everything that we do is typed in. I'm not gonna say like an attorney, but very specific. And so, yeah, I think I would wanna scope it out, like, if I'm coming out to the wastewater plant, I'd wanna tell you not to exceed $1,000. And if you spend an hour there, then it won't be $1,000. I guess that's my point. You wanna know a range of, because when you get the bill, the invoice, you don't wanna be surprised.
And you can kinda do a pay as you go, like, for a project, or,
We could, we have to start with the initial walkthrough, scoping the project out, and putting a cost estimate together. And, and putting a cost estimate, you do have to call the suppliers, the equipment manufacturers, and, so on, to, get the, updated pricing. And then we put, and then we have a database where all our unit prices for hourly, prevailing wage is just right there, up to date, so that's what you get into, like a cost estimate. I don't know if I have one here or not. I thought I did one for Maple Grove.
would you guys have time to fit us in?
Pardon?
Would you guys have time to fit us in? Like, would we be able to move on it
Yeah,
fairly quickly?
yeah, that's our goal. I thought I brought one, yeah, so we would be able to start, we have to start now because the May deadline for OPWC, then, once we talk with Katie on Monday, or whenever, we could see what other opportunities are out there. She did give me a handout. You probably have this. There are copies here. You probably have that. Oh. So all the funding goes to Portage County. And,
So whatever grant that she would apply for us, do they then send us something and you guys something saying, yes, we were approved for this
Yeah,
amount,
we
or
would-
no, you guys can't,
we would-
we don't have funding for that,
yeah, it comes out like, right
okay?
now, we're waiting for the ODOD funding for, the Omega District in southeast Ohio. And it's like,
Thank you.
like the lottery, you're waiting for whether your town's got funded or not. But these are some of the opportunities of where we would, seek funding from. Yeah, so even like, some of the villages we work with, they got the grant, the funding 2 years ago for a water tank, and, we prepared the plans. Some of the things changed in the design, so they just go back for more funding every year, and just go back for more. And, so yeah, I think it's a good fit, small firm, full-time member with grants. We could work together and, make it work, you know, keep it simple and, just get it done, you know, so.
So the grant side of it, if we go that route, is that comes with it, or is that something extra that goes with it?
Well, if we get, I think, I'm pretty sure if we get the grant, then we get paid for doing the grant application, only if we get the grant.
Okay, and does that come out of the grant, or do we pay and we do like a reimbursement?
Yeah, there's probably gonna be with any grant or project, probably be a little bit of matching funds. It's rarely where it's 100% total grant. And it might be that low interest loan that you were talking about, which is,
yeah, we have to discuss the financials and all that stuff and go over that. And
I think the first place to start is really and truly, getting the village in tune with our grant, person, Katie Saba, and just getting it going, because it's an ongoing relationship. It's, you know, she's on the phone all day with all the different municipalities we deal with, you know, and, she just goes through the whole, and even once they get the grant and they're spending the money from the grant, she administers the funds.
It says here that ADA modifications, parks and recreational improvements, would that be, like tennis courts?
Well, ADA typically is putting up,
Disabled people,
disabled ramp.
curb ramps and
Did you
pedestrian
do a
ramps.
project?
Yeah, I deal with it a lot because I'm more so in the transportation side of things, and so everything has to be, especially if it's an ODOT job, like a lot of our jobs are ODOT funded, everything has to be ADA. You can't even propose any work that isn't ADA specified. So like, you know, your sidewalks have to have a certain cross slope. They can't exceed 1.56% either way.
We try to get grants for our sidewalks and we haven't really got anywhere with it. Have we, Sherry? They're just.
Remember, we just talked about this a little bit?
We do a lot of
Well,
sidewalks.
they're working on it.
We're doing
It's
a
in-
lot. He's doing a lot of
It's in
sidewalks
the
right now.
process, but I mean,
It takes
a little bit of
time.
time, yeah.
I brought a job actually. This is just, it's not completed yet. It's in stage 3 review, but this is a sidewalk job actually, pretty straightforward sidewalk job. It's in Cadiz, Ohio, which is Harrison County. And this is a nice job actually. It entails a lot. It entails, you know, there's like, you can see like the maintenance of traffic and certain details in here, but you know, this is what like this is like a smaller sidewalk job. This is what that would look like. You can pass it around.
And it's Cheryl, she's a sidewalk person.
Yeah, but I've done a bunch of sidewalks, and I mean, you wouldn't believe how much engineering goes into building a sidewalk. It's insane.
I know.
Well, the ADA issues are.
The ADA is the biggest
really?
thing. You have to make sure all your grades are correct, and
They're working on it, she said,
yeah.
So, yeah, we have, Glenn works in the transportation end of our company, so he handles all the ODOT projects. And, once again, there's a lot of funding for that as well, so.
A lot of funding, yeah.
A lot of funding, I mean, bike paths and, just a lot, so. Yeah, just, I guess, you know, in summary, just keep me in the loop and let me know how you want to proceed and we'll go from there.
I think
Oh, thank you for
Thank
answering
you.
the one.
Appreciate that, and, hopefully we'll be moving forward quickly.
We scanned it in our systems.
Oh, okay.
All right. Do we have another guest?
Yes, we have a speaker, Dr. Kingsley from Penn State. He's here to educate us a little bit.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Sorry, what did you say your name was?
Dr. Kingsley, Derek, D-E-R-E-K-K-I-N-G-S-L-E-Y. E-Y. Yep. Thank you.
All right.
Hello. Hello. Now help me out here, what am I discussing?
Well, you're gonna teach us about cannabis, the pros, the cons, and if anyone has questions, I suppose they should ask.
Sure, so, as my background, I am a, professor at Kent State University. My area of expertise over the past 3 years, has really been looking at cannabis. My area of expertise prior to that was really chronic pain and complementary and alternative medicine to get ahead of the chronic pain, primarily women with fibromyalgia. Over the past few years, certainly with the cannabis culture here in Ohio changing from medicinally to recreationally, we've done a lot of work looking at how cannabis can be used to treat a myriad of diseases, one of which is fibromyalgia and really chronic pain. When we think about cannabis overall, one of the primary uses of cannabis this day and age is really to treat chronic pain. That's probably one of the #1 reasons. Other reasons would include inflammation and diseases associated with that. If we look at the list of approved diseases in the state of Ohio, I think that list right now is about 26 or 32 deep. And that's the medical side of things. As you are aware, in November, we as a state voted to pass recreational cannabis, and that'll kick in August, September is my understanding. Now there's nuances with that we haven't really seen. I know we voted on the ability to grow cannabis in our homes. I think we voted to grow 15 or 18 plants. I haven't seen how that's going to work out logistically. Currently around here, I know last year Ohio approved 77 dispensaries. The nearest ones here to where we're located now, there's one in Kent, there's one in Ravenna, and there's one in Warren. So north of Youngstown, if I remember. Those are the 3 dispensaries around here. To be clear,
Are those medical?
well, this time we only have medical. The recreational hasn't kicked yet. But those same dispensaries will also oversee the recreational as well. Last year, I believe in March, April, Ohio approved 77 new dispensaries that will scatter across the state. I think right now we have 25 dispensaries in the state with another 50 coming or 70 coming along the line in the next year or two is the idea. To be clear, I am a chronic pain researcher. I'm also a chronic pain patient. I slipped on the ice about 14 years ago and I shattered my spine in like 9 or 10 different places. I lost about 2 inches of height when I landed because I cracked stuff all the way down. As a chronic pain patient, I was sleeping maybe an hour and a half a night. That was a good night, was maybe 2 hours of sleep on a good night. With cannabis, now I sleep between 6 and 8. My ongoing joke is my cannabis card number is 2. I think it's like 200 something. But I know as a cannabis scientist, when I first got the card, I had to drive an hour and a half. And then it was 45, and then it was a half hour. There's 2 dispensaries in Akron with a 3rd coming. And then now it's from my home to the one in Kent is a 10-minute walk. And again, I always talk about cannabis as medicine because that's really what it is in a lot of different ways. And I know cannabis is certainly, the culture in America is in the process of changing. Right now we have 38 states that have legal cannabis in one form or another, medical or recreationally. And then on top of that, DC as well. And then again, I think times are changing, and it's still scheduled as a Schedule 1 drug. I'm not going to deny that. Currently, cannabis is listed in the same sentence as cocaine and heroin. But I think President Biden has talked about changing that and rescheduling it. And I know it's an election year, and I think that conversation will continue. I think cannabis has been scheduled as a Schedule 1 drug since the Nixon era. I think he's the one that scheduled it as such. So I think, you know, again, certainly what I always talk about with my chronic pain research subjects is about availability. You know, fibromyalgia is on the list of the 30 some odd diseases that can get it. But again, with the fibromyalgia and the chronic pain patients, a lot of them that I've had in my research lab have been listed as drug seekers, because a lot of them are taking opiates, right, to deal with their pain, lack of sleep, and everything else. But what we've seen in Ohio is we're seeing less and less opioids as more people are getting cannabis in their system to get away from the opium and things like that. And I think that's a really positive thing. My previous job was in Indiana, and the issue there was where I was, we had the straight line from St. Louis to Chicago, so our area of Indiana had a lot of opioid overdoses. And looking at the data over the past 5 to 8 years, those overdoses are kind of going down as the cannabis use goes up. We have this, you know, negative or reverse correlation between these things. I think that's really positive idealism. But what I always tell my clients, and again, these research subjects, is it's about availability. You know, I was dedicated to trying to get some sleep and improving my quality of life, so I made an hour-and-a-half drive to get cannabis. But that's not true, and everybody has that ability. And even if the nearest one is Ravenna, what's Ravenna from here, 20, 25 minutes? What's Warren from here, about the same? Are we kind of in the middle? I was looking at your map trying to figure out where I was.
Yeah.
Are we? So you're still looking at about 30 to 40 minute drive to get medicine, right? Where's your nearest CVS?
Garrettsville.
Yeah, Walgreens, right? Where do you go and get your prescription pills? Is it less than a half hour?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or online. Now, we're not gonna get cannabis online, right? Cannabis is not delivered either.
We got a Rite Aid 4 miles away.
Yeah, see, but it's small things like that. So that's access to medicine. And I think cannabis is very much the same thing. A lot of it is access. And again, with recreational, what we're going to see, I suspect and hypothesize, is that cannabis is going to find a new group of individuals. You know, again, this list of things is chronic inherent pain, fibromyalgia, Parkinson's disease, end of life, things along these lines, like hospice.
Anxiety, isn't it supposed to help with anxiety?
Anxiety, depression, inflammation, so cancer and the pain with that. Again, the list is pretty deep. Autism is on there. It's been shown to help out with spastic behavior, so like Tourette syndrome, or like fainting to some degree, or those that have like that move into like spasms and things like that, can really help out that. But again, I think it's also important to keep in mind, like these dispensaries, I mean, you wouldn't know it was a dispensary unless you actually looked it up. The one in Ohio was an old dentist office, and now it just says Bliss on the side. But there's no odor, even when you go in, you don't smell it, everything's behind locked doors. Security is everywhere. There's an officer that's always there, you know, officer, or at least a paid individual, but I don't usually see them carrying nothing more than like mace, maybe a taser, but usually no weapon outside of that. But that might be very dispensary specific. I know the one in Warren I visited a few times, and that individual did carry a loaded weapon. But again, I mean, dispensaries are, how they handle these things are very, very different. Again, I think, you know, the one in Ravenna, you just kind of go downtown and make a left, and it's down there on the right? Super good. But again, everything is behind locked doors, security is high, they're not allowed to be built near schools. The one in Kent is right down Kent. I mean, it's right next to the courthouse, actually. So if you go downtown, there's the courthouse, and right next to that is the dispensary. I mean, the times are changing.
Jeez.
No, it literally is. It's next door. It's next door to the courthouse. I mean, literally, it's like right next door.
Yeah.
And it's it's a block across the road from Kent State University. But again, I know in my research and with a lot of the work that we do, you know, again, right now it's a medical card. And that medical card is probably, I think it's about $200 to get the card, $50 to register it, and then you can buy the product. And the way Ohio is now, you're limited to so much product over the course of 90 days. It's not like you can go buy like pounds of it. That's not allowed. In Ohio, we have the Ohio 10th. You can buy a 10th at a time, and everything is pre-packaged. I think Ravenna also now has a growing site. I think they got a 25,000 square foot ability to grow cannabis, was passed in September of last year, so that's also coming down the pipeline. But again, I'm really a big advocate of cannabis in a lot of ways. But again, I always view it as medicine. Even when I talk to my kids about my cannabis use, we talk about it as medicine, not as a narcotic. I think that's just, again, some of that is a change in how we discuss it, how we talk about it, how we use it. It's not like everybody rolls a joint, right? I mean, that is very different. I mean, there's multiple ways to consume cannabis now, right? One would be to smoke it, which is still illegal in the state of Ohio. We're not allowed to combust. We can vape it, but they also do tinctures, a liquid that goes under your tongue. I wear a patch. The patch is 10 hours of continuous diffusion into my bloodstream. I usually wear the pack for 2 hours, take it off for 2 hours, put it back on. It helps me get through my day in a lot of different ways because I hurt so bad. But there's also edibles, I think we all know that by now. I know what I'm seeing now at dispensaries is coming in a liquid form. You can buy a 4-pack of soda, essentially has about, was it 10 or 12 milligrams of THC in the soda, right? I mean, that's very different.
So I'm not familiar with the laws with this. You're saying you're not allowed to smoke it, even if it's medical?
No combustibles. And I think even with recreational, they're going to try and keep that idealism is no combusting. So that's no joints, no rolled material, nothing that's fired.
What's the rationale between that and vaping?
Well, vaping works at a higher temperature. It's not combustible, but what it does is it dissolves.
I mean, legally, why would one would be?
I don't think it's a legality issue. I think it's a health issue because smoking is bad for your health.
Okay, gotcha.
But the data with vaping don't exist yet, right? Vaping as an idealism has only been around 10, 15 years. But smoking's been around 50 or 60. We know that smoking damages the lungs. I don't think we've seen that same idealism with vaping. Because what happens is you attach it to the cannabis to a water molecule, essentially, or a fat, while you're vaping it. So the effects are very similar to smoking. But, this day and age, I know you can buy a pre-loaded vaporizer. So it already has like oil in it, and all you gotta do is huff it, or pull on it. But now it comes in like fruity flavors, so it smells like strawberries, or it smells like peaches, or it smells like pineapple. It's not this, my wife's like, oh my God, that's a skunk, and I'm like, actually that's cannabis. But I think some of that's still there, right? Times are changing.
Another question, 2 questions.
No, please, I can do what I can to help.
How does a community that would want to find information on how to get a dispenser in the area?
Well, I believe it's cannabis.oh.gov. I can double check, but we have a government website dedicated to it.
Is it?
Cannabis.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now. But we have yeah, I'm looking it up. Yeah, it's ohio.gov. Department of Commerce, Division of Cannabis Control.
Okay.
Because it is federal, it is government reg. Every state has their own secret sauce and what they allow and what they don't. Like Michigan, if I grow it, I can sell it to the dispensary. In Ohio, that's not legal. All growing must happen organically, essentially. The way it is in Ohio, they're not allowed to use fertilizers, they're not allowed to spray it for insects. It's as close to organic cannabis as you can get. The issue is, if you remember, I think 3 or 4 years ago, they had people that were having pulmonary issues from cannabis. That's because whatever state they were allowing them to spray it with anti-bug stuff, and then people were smoking that or vaping that, and they started to have real reactions in their lungs because of that. That will never happen in Ohio the way the law is written here, because it's basically organic. Ideally, when I get my Ohio 10th, I can scan the QR code, and it'll tell me who watered it on what day.
Jeez.
But there's no additives. I mean, it's like 85% organic cannabis, right? We're in a whole new world out there. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. But I know, again, everybody always thinks smoking cannabis, but again, this day and age, we're well beyond that. Vaping, certainly. Edibles, yeah. Tinctures, pills. I was trying to think what else I saw at the dispensary recently. Again, yeah, the soda is probably the most recent thing I've seen. But again, I think, with the recreational coming down, Ohio's going to have an influx of people looking to have dispensaries. And again, it's about availability to medicine. You'll have to drive a half hour. Is that really going to be worth it for me to do that? For some people, yeah, but some people just don't have that availability.
Right.
And I think, here, Ohio in general, and then kind of everywhere else as well in the United States, I mean, what you're talking about is availability to medicine that can have a really robust effect on quality of life.
From social aspects, now that it's going to be legalized.
Yeah, recreational.
Right. Is the workplaces, how are they going to adapt? Because a lot of them have laws on the book. They get screened.
Yep.
And
Yep, and or you get screened like every 30 days, because THC is in your system for about 28 days. It's in your
Right.
urine and blood.
how's that gonna work in?
It's gonna be a case-by-case basis. But again, currently, I think things are a little bit different with that, because now I have to go to a physician to get a script. So my workplace at Kent State is very understanding of that, because I have a medical script. Now, what does that mean recreationally? I mean, that is going to have, somebody's going to have certain jobs and things like that, and places of employment are going to have some really hard, tough self-reflection about what they want to do.
I guess what I look at that is, if somebody is doing that on their own time in the evenings,
Great.
it's not affecting their work,
Sure.
it's still gonna be in their system.
Yep, that's
It'd
correct.
be like having a beer or two in the evening,
You bet.
and how they're gonna balance that is gonna be interesting.
Well, I think it's also important to keep in mind that, this day and age, certainly as a medical proponent, it's not just about being stoned 100% of the time.
Right.
And there's a lot of people out there that use cannabis that are fully functional, and you'll never know.
They don't act like drunks.
Good point, touche. You're not stumbling around, oh, I'm so high.
Yeah.
You're exactly right.
I'd rather be around somebody who smokes pot.
But they don't smoke it, right? You wouldn't even know. They might just take a gummy bear.
I
You
don't,
would never know.
but somebody who's drunk, I can't stand to be around him, and my brother drinks, and I can't, we fight and argue because he's a drunk.
Well, I grow my own hops and brew my own beer, so I'm probably not one to talk about drinking.
But I'm
But you're
just
totally
saying,
right. You're totally
there's a
right.
difference between somebody being drunk and somebody being high.
Well, and there's something different between being stoned out of your mind and being functionally high. Because now, if you don't know, if I go and look at, let's say, a cannabis menu, have anybody ever seen a cannabis menu before?
I don't.
No,
Vegas.
I haven't.
Oh,
I live in Vegas.
Well, and Vegas has the largest dispensary. Their dispensary there is the size of Walmart.
Yeah, they have a cannabis car. They have a cannabis car at your hotel, and you just go out and go.
Well, I stayed at a hotel in Denver that had a cannabis room downstairs. So you go downstairs in the hotel, and they had all types of devices. This way they would roll a blunt for you if you wanted.
He likes,
It wasn't
cigar shops.
Yeah, that's exactly. But this guy was sitting there, was like, "What do you want to try?" They had like a 4-foot water pipe, a 3-foot water pipe. It was like, I can roll you whatever. I can roll this. I can roll that. I can do it this way. I can do it that way. What do you want? That's like his whole job, was to help people consume cannabis in a hotel. Wow. And I don't think Ohio was ready for that, because that's super liberal.
So what are you trying to say?
Well, what's fun about that is that we're classified as a purple state, right? Red and blue kind of together.
Yeah.
And that's true. I live in Kent, right? We're a very blue city, right? There's no way around that. But that's Kent State, right? We're college. I mean, there's no way around that. But again, if you look at the menu right nowadays, certainly in Ohio, I know exactly how much THC is in this particular product. And that's true whether it's flower, right, the traditional cannabis, or a vaporizer, or an oil, or a tincture, or a gummy. I know exactly how much is in that, down to the gram. And again, people, once again, they try it and they figure out what works for them. They'll kind of know their sweet spot, right? Oh, I like a product that's 14% THC. Because I'm a regular user, it's how I sleep at night, but anything over 28, I'm like, wah, 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 wah. The highest I think I've seen so far in the States, 35% THC, and I think from a pain perspective, that's way too much. But, will that be what recreational users want? I have no idea. But coming out of the gate, they're all going, oh yeah, let's try the 35% THC, but they're going to be smashed. They're going to be useless. But you can be fully functional, right? I know my patch is only like 8%, maybe 10% THC, and what it does, it takes my pain from an 8 or a 9 to a 6 or a 7, just so I can get by in my day. But it doesn't change anything about how I process, doesn't change anything about how I function. It takes away the pain and allows me to do my job. Now at night, yeah, I mean, I'll take a gummy or vaporize after dinner, and again, for me, that knocks my pain down again to about a 6 or a 7, so I can get some sleep. And I think this is true for a lot of individuals, right? I mean, cannabis really is medicine at this point in time, but you're right. I think certain industries and jobs are going to have to evaluate that, because now it's not just the 18 to 25-year-old individual getting high, right? It's somebody that's my age. I'm almost 50. And my parents, my mom is a fibromyalgia, and she's 80, and my mom's like, you take your meds today? She's like, yeah, I had 2 gummies with breakfast. I mean, this is a whole new world out there, right? My mom is 80, and I'm like, are you stoned out of your mind? She's like, I'm feeling pretty good. And my parents have probably only ever kissed each other in their entire life. They've been married 56 years. I think they've only dated each other ever. I think I've only seen my mom consume alcohol once in my entire years of life. My parents are super conservative in a lot of different ways. How I ended up not like that way is kind of odd. But we grew up in North Carolina, right? And my parents are from Texas and Kansas. I mean, they're super, super conservative. And my mom, I think we had to convince my dad to let my mom try it. But then they drove to Michigan and came back with some product, and I really think it improved my mom's quality of life. I mean, she was sitting in a chair because she hurt so bad, probably 15 hours a day. Because she hurt so bad, she couldn't get up and move, right? She was what we call kinesiophobic. She was scared of movement, because if I move, I hurt more. But the cannabis broke that cycle. So now she's able to walk like 2 or 3 blocks a day and get some activity and have some movement and be able to handle the pain versus taking 5 to 6 narcotics, high-level opium and multiple sleep aids to try and get by. And I think cannabis in a lot of ways has been game-changing along those lines. I truly believe that. And that's talking about my mom, who's 80 and super conservative. And I'm like, you're stoned? She's like, I feel pretty good. And again, I think there's a lot of people out there that just don't know. But cannabis, I mean, there's no running from it. It's coming. It's here. It's been here for 5 years, almost 6. It'll be 6 years. It'll be here in May. 6 years. So it's already here. Well, it's going to be recreational. Now, that's going to change how your village wants to handle that, right? I know in Kent, we passed a law locally that you can now consume it in the public area. But we have all these things downtown, and I know my wife is, there's that skunk smell again, and as a parent, I'm not real thrilled about that, but it is what it is, right? Because it's illegal to smoke, but I'm sure people still do it.
Yeah, because of Kent, now there's areas that you're allowed to have open containers, right?
Yeah, we have Dora.
Right.
Yep, where I get a band,
So
I can
is
walk
that
with.
same areas, are they gonna allow open cannabis use?
As of November, we passed it.
That's what I thought, yeah.
But again, you still can't, ideally you can't smoke it. So
Right.
if you get caught smoking it, it's an automatic sentence, or at least a fine, because that is against the law in the state of Ohio. But like vaporization or edibles, I mean, you'll never know. Oh, I smell peaches, right? That's crazy. The last thing you think is, oh my God, that's cannabis, but that's probably what it is, because what cigarette smells like? Peaches. But times are changing, and I think you're going to see more of these things coming down the pipeline and more people finding that cannabis can really help improve their quality of life. And I don't think that a lot of people understand that's what's going to happen, because people don't know. Because we're still stuck by what we were taught as kids. I mean, my parents, I grew up in the dare to stay off drugs, right? The Reagan era, right? I'm a kid of the mid to late 70s, and it was always the HIV and the dare to stop drugs, and cannabis was always on that list, and I no longer have cannabis on that list, because I think from a medicinal side of things, even from a recreational side of things, it can really improve the quality of life in terms of those that have anxiety, depression, spasms, or Tourette's, or chronic pain. I think sometimes, certainly with those things, getting ahead of those diseases is one way cannabis can help out with that. And I think that is a new way of thinking. But it's been here 6 years, right? I mean, we're already thinking that in a lot of ways. That's hard. That's really challenging, because we've always thought cannabis is a Schedule I narcotic. It's the same level as heroin. And that is true. There's no denying that. But I think America as a whole is changing. 38 states. I mean, that's clearly the majority, right? 38 and DC. That's crazy.
How does they reconcile, because typically a state cannot pass a law that supersedes a federal law.
Correct.
And in the federal law, it's still illegal, correct?
But
So
they have
how
allowed
do
it.
they
I'm not sure I know, but you got to keep in mind that now it's still illegal to carry it across states. Like a lot of people now, and perhaps people in this village that don't have a medical card, can drive to Michigan and grab as much product as they want and come back. And hopefully, with the legality changing here in the state, that will no longer be the case. That's putting money in Michigan's pocket, not Ohio's.
So at some point, do you foresee the federal government doing away with that law?
Well, I think we have to keep in mind that cannabis has two forms. We have cannabidiol, CBD, and CBD I can buy at Walmart. I can buy it on Amazon. They carry like 40 different varieties of it. And then the THC, but the THC is pretty tightly regulated across all states. But you're exactly right. What the federal government has done is they basically turned a blind eye to it and allowed the state to regulate it independently. Because Colorado has had recreational marijuana for 13 years and California for 18 years. And I think Ohio is now on year 6 with medicinal, with recreational coming down the pipeline. Even, if you think about the most conservative states, my home state of North Carolina has medical cannabis on the floor for another vote this year. Georgia has a program, Mississippi has a program, Arkansas has a program. 38 states. States that don't right now, Idaho, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky. But in the Northeast, in the Midwest, we're growing. Illinois doesn't have one, but Indiana does, Michigan does, South Dakota does not, North Dakota does. But I think these other states, from what I've read, are all passing laws to try and get ahead of this cannabis coming down the pipeline. I think in the next 3 to 5 years, we'll have 45 to 48 states that have legal cannabis. That's crazy. All things considered, we would have thought that 10 years ago, right?
It's gonna be every state probably, but, any additional questions that you guys wanna ask?
Times are
Dr.
changing.
Derek?
Well, we have the information that if you just have to go on the government website
Yeah, you gotta look
to
it up.
actually do the
It's just a form you fill
applications
out.
and that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's what we really need to do.
Yeah, I think that's where we need to
Okay.
go.
Yeah, and even, I'll give you the exact address, if you want, I got it up here. Yeah, it's, oh, that's tough. Yeah, Google, Division of Cannabis Control.
We appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Well, and I know I've given talks about cannabis at 2 national conferences, and usually I get, does it help? And I think for a lot of people, it's about access to medicine. And that, not everybody can make the 2 or 3 hour drive to Michigan to get it.
A lot of people not drive or.
Correct. And we don't have, I know when I was in California, I was in San Diego, and in San Diego, there's no dispensaries, but you download an app and there's cars driving around that has it in the back of the car, and the guy rolls up, he scans your credit card, you go in the back of his car, you pick out what you want, he drives away.
Really?
And I was looking around, and I was like, oh my God, he was like, this is totally legal, don't worry about it. It's like, it felt like The Wire, if you ever watch HBO The Wire, like I was in Baltimore or whatever, it was really weird, because he basically popped his trunk and had all this product, and he was like, what do you want? And I was like, oh my God. But again, I think, the way we talk about cannabis and the way we consume cannabis is very different. You don't have to roll a joint every time, right? Again, I wear a patch, I can pop an edible, I can vape, and you would never know. You would never know, ever. And that, very different, very different.
Well, thank you very much.
Appreciate
We
it.
appreciate it. We appreciate the education.
Yeah,
A
it's fun.
lot of things we probably were not aware of, and.
Well, I know you had a busy schedule
Really,
already. I
yeah,
can see
so,
that.
yeah.
The whole point of it was to get information and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It gets bad rap and this, that, and the other, and we just.
It has had.
Yeah, and if we were ever approached about certain things, we just would wanna know what we're getting into, if anything, because I don't do any of that stuff, so I'm a drinker, but I don't know, but,
Well,
it's just nice to know that stuff, and.
it is. Well, I think gathering data is a good place to start. I'm a scientist.
Right.
I gather data on everything, so I think gathering data to make informed decisions is a very smart decision. I'm really glad to be here. I'm glad you're able to listen. Because that's what it comes down to, is can you make informed decisions? That's how we
Right.
govern our lives, right?
Right.
Always a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Very good.
Thanks.
No problem. How have you been doing?
Alright,
Good to see
so,
you.
we're
$30
about
a
to
day.
make a motion to
Please do so.
approve the March 12th, 2024
You bet.
committee of the whole minutes. I get a second?
Second.
Alright, Scott,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Marilyn,
Yes.
David.
No.
All right, old business, mowing.
I couldn't remember exactly what you guys said. You had to discuss something about mowing. You guys said put it on the agenda.
The days, the amount of days we're gonna do it, so we wanna take it down to 3 days, I believe, right? It's 7
Yeah.
now or something like that, or
Well,
10.
We need, I would recommend 10 inches and 3 days to mow it.
10 inches?
Yeah.
Okay,
Is that?
I thought we
fair?
were-
mean,
thought
that's
we
just
said
a
8.
suggestion. We could do 8, but 8's probably better. I mean, that's up to you guys. You guys tell me 8, 10.
thought we should have, last year we talked about putting a provision in there where after the first or second, whatever times we do it in a season, that we
It's
have
just
grounds
automatic.
to be able to do it, because obviously they're not able to do it themselves.
Yeah, was that something that, we had to put in zoning?
I don't know about zoning, I'm
What are you referring to, David?
the ordinance.
Yeah, okay, what about it?
So like certain properties that are constantly growing a foot, 2 foot tall,
Right,
we mow it once or twice or even 3 times in a season. After that, we don't have to go through the process of sending them the letter or whatever our
Yes.
process is, that
Right,
we
you're
can
right.
just mow it and assess their taxes.
correct,
Or give them a chance to pay the bill and then assess their taxes.
Right.
Because right now it's taking too long, and we have people that their yards are getting a foot, foot and a half, 2 feet tall, and
right.
get snakes, rats, and everything else, or you can't see the
Come
objects in the yards,
yeah.
and our mower is going in there and hitting objects and ruining equipment and everything
It's
else.
costing them twice as much because Jake has to double cut it.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it's, like you said, we'll have half a dozen properties. We're gonna mow them the whole year. So at some point, we talked about putting out a sign or something to say, you know,
But I think we have to have something in our ordinance.
We have to update our ordinance now,
Yeah.
because our process now is really long and drawn
Yeah,
out.
it says one of us.
they
whoever
wanna
does
get
it,
hold of,
has to send a
a
certified
lawyer
letter.
and say, how can we word this? To where after 3 notices, that every time it gets 8 inches, we're gonna mow it and you're gonna get billed.
Plus, we need to reduce it from 7 days to 3 days,
Yeah,
because then if it's, like right now, I've done mowed my 3 yards 3 times this month.
yeah, so
And
much,
it's only the 11th.
right.
I mean, it's growing like crazy, so you get those houses that don't
It's
mow
been-
it, and it grows like wildfire.
If it hasn't been mowed already, it's probably at 8 inches now.
And then there's one property that Jake always has to come out and brush hog because it gets so high, across from the Legion. And that's another one that we could be mowing more.
Yeah, you could almost send that letter as soon as he mows it because
It's
that's,
gonna need it again.
yeah.
Right.
And the point that always amazes me is we're charging a high rate. You think they would hire, millers or one of these places that cut grass, be a whole lot cheaper for it. They don't seem to do that.
And can I say something about mowing and putting the grass in the roads?
And we talked
We
about
have
that.
an
Yeah, we
ordinance.
have an
That's
ordinance
an
for it.
ordinance.
It's just
We
I
got
gotta-
know,
that
I
passed a
know
couple
it's
years ago, we just need to
ordinance.
enforce it.
It's not,
Because I've already seen grass in the road way out to the middle this year already.
yeah, and it's not good for motorcycles
Oh,
or
my
people
Lord.
stopping.
Well, the biggest problem is going in the sanitary system,
That too.
overwhelming it.
Yep, something.
Yeah, I actually have a question pertaining to this. So, I mean, listening to you guys, it sounds like, someone's grass gets so high, someone's cutting it, whether it's the village or outside, but it's costing village money, correct? And then you're trying to collect it?
We assess it to their taxes at the end of the year.
Okay, here's my question. Whatever, whether it's village or outside contractor, wouldn't it be easier to have an outside hey, we're sending you this, if you don't cut it, it's getting cut consistently. With an outside contractor, where the outside contractor is responsible for collecting the money, then the village isn't out money, because what if the person doesn't pay the bill? It just happens to be the same person doesn't pay the tax. I mean, if they don't care about their yard, what's gonna make them pay that bill pay their taxes.
If
I
the
think
contractor
legally-
don't get paid, then they're not gonna mow it, so then we're out the service. If we assess their taxes, if they don't pay their taxes, it's gonna
They
go to
lose their
land
home.
bank, they're gonna lose their land. You
I
know?
believe legally we have to
Legally,
use,
it's a
the
legal
village
issue.
has to employ
Okay,
a person.
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
But
you.
we do hire outside, our guys aren't mowing it.
Okay, and that's what I was thinking too, is like
Yeah, we
village
do.
equipment that getting damaged.
We
and
give
that-
somebody a contract
Okay,
to do it for us for this price.
gotcha.
And then we also give them the opportunity to pay, that's in our ordinance,
Right, no, I understand.
before it goes to their taxes.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just-
Yeah.
I was just thinking like less headaches for the village, that's what I was asking.
I'll run it by Chuck and we'll go from there. 3 days, 8 inches, right? 8 to 10 inches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
eight's fine.
And then something along the lines of, continuous need, like 1, 2, or 2, 3, however many times until we can go in and
just
legally
do it.
do it.
I'd say 3 times.
Knock on a
not
door or
every
whatever
time.
and say, hey, we're mowing your grass, whatever.
Yeah. Cause the time, sending those out all the time.
And then waiting,
Yeah.
and then getting a hold of Jake, or whoever we choose,
'Cause now-
and then
Yeah.
we're a week, 2 weeks past.
Alright, Howland alarm, I don't know what that one is.
You guys said, put it on the agenda. There was something he received in an email, Ryan had to resend or
That's
something.
what I copied you guys in,
Yeah.
the contract for that.
Oh, yeah,
That's what, 10 grand?
It's a lot.
It's 10
That's why I
grand.
thought it would just be easier for you guys to read it, than you can go over it, it was itemized, it's.
I noticed there, it was for the, like, 4 buildings, the police aren't on there? I didn't see the police.
I think they already got
Chief,
theirs.
we already had
Holland
this.
has come out and already done our.
Oh, okay, so that's why they weren't, okay.
So the
Thanks.
sewer and water's gonna go on there, and I think part of the water garage will point to
Community
the
center.
park, and then there'll be one at community center.
Okay.
Definitely a big price tag.
Yeah.
It's a bit- That's why I thought it's just easier to.
I'm not a alarm
Spend our money right
That's,
now.
yeah, that's my issue, is the price, that's
I mean,
high.
it was cheap, but it's a big upfront.
Yeah.
And,
Those cameras are not cheap.
yeah,
So that's just the initial. Then what is it,
Then we have-
what is it yearly for the,
Upkeep.
For the
and
service?
Service.
Yeah.
and-
I don't remember, I think it was like 35.
Cause I didn't think that,
It
when we
was,
were looking at it before, cause when they came out and looked at the water plant, I mean, it, for the installation and the cameras and everything, it was, I think the water plant was $5 grand? Was that right? Something like that?
it's something like that.
But then I think it wasn't that much for the service yearly.
Yeah, that part's not bad, it's the paying the upfront, the dropping that, that's rough, but.
No, that would be split up between the water,
Departments.
sewer
Different
would
ones,
pay for their own.
Right.
So that
would
does-
fall on your guys'
Lieutenant, does that cover you guys under that too, or you guys are already paid?
That's separate.
They're already done, they're good.
It's 132 a year per camera.
per camera.
Yeah, that's not all, that's not all.
So it's.
So like $400 a year for the water plant, cause I think it was 4 cameras.
Yeah.
And then I
Yeah,
think
it's
Philly has,
initial 5,000.
we'll just say about 11 cameras, so it's about 1,200 a year.
So the water
Split,
plant,
split what, 2 ways, 3 ways?
It would be 3,
Three
because the police
ways.
department too.
Yeah, 3 ways.
no, police department
Which
has
part
their
has
own.
Oh, they're not
They're
in that
not.
contract.
Well,
So
no,
the
you
way
sell the
it-
It'd
community
still be
building
water, sewer,
in
and
here.
The way, no,
streets.
no, the way that it would work and be divided up, if the sewer plant has 3 cameras, they pay for the 3 cameras. If the water plant has 1 camera, they pay for 1 camera.
Well, I think it was actually 3, but they were sticking a 4th to watch the park.
Watch the park, yeah, on the other
Yeah,
side.
but each respective department would pay
Right.
for their own system
Yes.
in their building.
Right.
Yes,
Well, that's why you were saying, right, come out of each one of
I
their.
mean, yeah, the
Right.
initial 5 grand's a lot per department, but, I mean,
You need it.
watching the water back here, It's
With
dangerous.
the things going on nowadays, yeah.
Isn't it required by the EPA too?
Yeah,
If
It's
it's
highly
not, it should be.
recommended,
Especially
Pretty
like
much.
fencing and everything else, the
Fencing
new
is-
laws.
yeah, fencing is.
So currently.
It will
right
be
now-
mandatory before long.
Right now, the water plant pays $61.48 a month.
For just
for
monitoring,
For ADT.
That's
that's for
700.
monitoring, just
No, that's just my
Don't know
door,
what
my
that
door
is.
alarms and motion detectors.
some monitoring.
and we get all that stuff right with it, it switches over, you don't need ADT anymore, right?
Correct.
But that at least, I figured that would at least give you an idea.
The only problem that we haven't worked out yet was, so something happens at the plant, ADT calls me. I get a text message or a phone call, 2 phone calls. If I don't answer, I get a text. They go to the next person in line.
About
The way Howland Alarm they said that they had a similar program that would do the same.
Is that for like a fault or the door getting opened or?
ADT also has the basement alarms. So if a pipe breaks in the basement and the floats go up, we get a phone call.
That's
So
a
is
nice
there like a
feature.
way to include the police department, so if there is something like that and you're sleeping, you don't answer? the
Yeah,
next
so
person-
like if any of my motion or doors go off, they're notified when I am.
Oh,
Usually
okay.
they're here when I show back up.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant it came to you, then the next person.
No, no.
Oh, okay.
No, like, so if it doesn't get a hold of me, Andrew's next in line. So somebody's coming to the water plant, but they get it as soon as I get
Yeah, we
it.
get it in conjunction, as soon as you get it, it goes to our dispatch.
Well, usually you or Rick's calling me saying, hey, what's going on?
Okay. And Howland has a similar program.
That's what he said.
So what do you guys think? First of all, Katrina, what is that? Does that look right for us to do something like that, or?
I think it was definitely worth considering and seeing. I mean, you have your upfront cost. And actually, I stand corrected, last year, that was your ADT bill, but this year it went up and it's actually $67.63.
So it kind of balance out.
It's gonna probably keep going up, honestly, cause it's ADT. But,
Yeah, we probably should, consider,
We gotta get it for
Yeah.
the wells
Yeah.
regardless, like, we can't leave those unattended. That-
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Well, like this morning, we come in and somebody had locked the gate to the park.
Yeah, I got that call.
I got a bunch too.
I got a call too.
We didn't know at first whether to take it off, whether somebody told you because the thing got flipped over to go ahead and lock it. So
Yeah.
everybody was like, not knowing who, it must have just been kids.
Hopefully. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think we need cameras.
When you look at it split up, it looks a whole
It
lot
looks
better.
yeah, sure does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a lot of things we do.
So, and just to confirm, this is not just cameras, this will take care of, or is it just cameras?
You still have that email? I can send it to you again.
I can pull it up, I just didn't wanna be on the phone, but
Yeah.
is it the low level, or the basement alarms for your department? The doors, the windows?
I believe so, David.
David,
God, it was 8-10 months ago, the last, yeah.
if you wanna look at them, I got the quotes for all of them.
As long as we're not taking away ADT service and not replacing it with something that's gonna be the same. That's what I was
Yeah.
making sure. But I'm on board with it.
They actually got a lot of extra, like they provide a monitor with it,
Yeah, they provide a TV if we don't have one, right?
yeah.
Well, I believe that takes over all our door codes too, right? So that's the way I understood it when they came out.
It'll be all new, yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
we can actually
ADT will be
access
done.
them.
We'll be done with
Yeah.
ADT.
Right.
So, are we good with this?
I'm on
Everybody's
board.
good with this? Yeah, is there anything we need to do?
And that actually will go to your phone and tablets too.
Agenda for the council meeting.
Huh?
What'd you say?
That's for the phones too, so like if you get it, you can look on your phone to see if it's
Now.
a raccoon or, speaking of the community center,
Yeah. Peeking out while they're dancing.
falling through the ceiling.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the quote from Howland Alarms the,
To present to
to
council.
present to council.
I'll second.
David?
Yep.
Scott?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
I'm going to need, please.
Did I send it to you?
Nope, I don't think so.
All right, so, council president's report, just a couple of things. I do have two, family members who have decided to put the application in for possibly either upgrading or replacing their septic system for the grant that's available and, for, NDS. So I'm pretty excited about that. Also, I talked to NDS and they're in the process of hiring an activities coordinator for the senior home. So they're working towards, again, I think they're gonna start, running an ad next week. And they're gonna start having different activities at the senior home for the stretching and those type of activities. So they're working on that. I talked to them as well. So those are the two big things that I had going on right now. So mayor's communication?
All I got, I talked to Nick and Nick who run the plaza down there. They sound like they wanna do some stuff and get involved with the community. We'll see how that goes. We've been told a lot of stuff over the years, so we'll see how that goes, but Monday we had the eclipse. That was pretty cool, driving around seeing all the people and the kids and stuff out there. It was pretty cool. I kinda was one of those downers where I was like, this thing is probably kinda stupid. It's actually cool. Me and my daughter sat out there and watched it, and it was fun. We have the community cleanup coming up the 26th and the 27th, just to refresh everyone's memory. Tony, you guys got that, what's the name, they get that garbage, the scrap?
Yeah, yeah. I called Michelle, Danny took care of the tires, and the township guys were taking care of the garbage dumpster.
Okay.
So we're using C&B again?
Yes.
Wonderful.
So
Falls.
so we're good to go on that. The kids will be having, just in case anyone sees them, the school kids will be repainting the gazebo for prom. So they're gonna be down there trying to get that done, and then next month, the wood that Sam and Andrea had provided for them, they fixed the sign up. Jake and the kids did a great job. I went down and looked at it. It looks real cool. Like, it's real cool. So the community center will have a sign out there. I wanna say May 20th, as they said, is when they'll do the presentation, but it may be before that. We gotta get the ground marked and make sure. You already got it? So the ground's marked. Jake will, let us know when they're gonna put it in. He's gonna bring it down and we'll put that up. I had talked to Ted today. He's gonna get with Ryan. They'll decide when they're gonna get that, get in there and get that light situation done for the community center. And what else do we got coming up? That kids' community cleanup will be in May with the school, where they all come every year. I want them to, right now, if you guys can all think of anything, what I do want them to do is mulch in front of the community center. They wanna do a couple yards. They're gonna come down to the park. The hot stove said they're painting the stuff, so whatever they don't paint, they'll obviously do the, go around and clean up, do the garbage pickup, and I mean, if Chris, if you guys want them to wash cars or stuff like that, we could add that on there.
That'd be great.
too,
Yep,
so.
absolutely.
Police department could use some love with their landscaping.
Yeah, we could use, help with the building, I mean, anything we can get, so.
That'd be good. You talked about mulching the community center.
The students from the school are gonna do that because their flowers always get mowed over. So
Oh.
they've been given access to mulch and put flowers at the police station.
Okay,
So that won't need to be done,
okay.
but
You
said
like
students
painting or
from
whatever.
school.
Yeah.
They got different groups of kids that are doing, they have some kids that like, they reward them for like doing stuff, so they send them out to do stuff, like they plant flowers here and there. So there's different groups of kids that are doing different projects, which is pretty cool. On another bonus, that sign, it has a built-in flower bed on the back of it. So it's gonna, when you guys see it, it's pretty cool. And that's all I got.
Alright, very good, thank you. Terry, finance?
Scott.
Scott, no, oh, sorry, I talked already, Scott, utilities.
After talking with, Ryan on, what was that, Monday? Yeah, he said we were bringing an engineer today, and I think hopefully we can get on board quickly, especially for the welds. If we can find some funding by May and get that moving, 'cause I mean, it's getting bad, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we're okay, we just can't waste no time.
And then, if this works out, if we can get some kind of a package with the other projects and get a grant or low interest, loan, I think that's the way to go. Cause there's 3 or 4 things on that list that really need to be done. And part of us, we're at fault because we've gone 20 years, or 25 years without making those improvements that have been needed. Now we're where we're at. You know.
Why weren't they done?
You know, it's one of those things, hey, we'll don't really have the money now or wait till and it just gets passed, you know, to the next group.
That's why I think it's important that the mayor, fiscal officer, department heads all sit down, village administrator annually and say, what are the things that we need to apply for grants for, or any of those type of things, so that we're looking at that stuff on an annual basis, so that when there's opportunities come up, that we have the funding to be able to do that, and we're not looking to take out loans or to be able to.
What I like about
down the
this
budget.
engineer firm, and see how it works out, because we've heard these speeches, but, they have a full-time grant
Yeah.
writer.
We talked to her, the one,
Yeah,
what was that, the
back
one
in
day
the
on the
day,
phone,
yeah.
she
She's
knows
on
her
it,
stuff.
she knows her stuff,
She knows her
Yeah,
stuff.
and that's exciting.
yeah, she's really good, and
Yeah.
she's a lawyer, so I'm sure she knows all the laws, so.
I know they're a smaller firm, but he's a very respected engineer in the field, so a lot of people talk highly of him. I haven't had a chance to work with him before, but the engineers I did work with said that he was the go-to, so.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Scott. All right, Terry.
Don't have a whole lot, but I was talking to Katrina the other day, and she would, really like to know exactly what kind of financial reports that we all think we need. I know we get these, like this, once a month. But I think to me, I'm reading this and it's like a Greek to me. There's all of these little items here and items there, and there's a lot of zeros, there's a lot of this on it. I don't know if there's any way that we can get something that's just smaller, basic, that we could use instead of all of this, but I would like to see something a little bit easier to read. So I don't know about the rest of you, but that's what I would like,
So on
basic
that,
stuff.
on those reports where you have all the different lines, I can go through and individually click what has dollar amounts, but there's no simple, easy report that's not going to include all those zeros.
Yeah,
I think it's just the way the software is made.
You-
And I'm not confident enough to delete any of that stuff that doesn't have anything, because I don't know why it's there. So,
yeah,
Yeah, this is about as small as it's gonna get.
yes.
You can get that broke down into just like, departments, but it's gonna look just like that, it's just gonna give you just the road, or just the sewer, or just the water.
see, that's what my thing is, what I would
Yeah.
like. I would like, say, I'm gonna go with the police department.
Right.
This is their budget, this is what they've spent, this is what they got left.
That would still entail me
That
going
would-
through
that
and
was-
clicking
it
on
was-
each individual line,
Yeah, and it'd be too,
like
But
you
just
watched
for-
me do it.
yeah, it would be too, time consuming. with everything else.
It comes out kinda looking like the paper we talked about the last meeting, to where the one where you said it had like people's pay on it and
Yeah.
stuff, it'll look just like that pretty much too, so it's the same thing.
Well, there's another report, and I showed Terry, if you guys wanna take one of these and pass it around, it's kind of the same thing as what you had. That's only like 16 pages of that specific report, but it kinda does the same thing of what you can, no, just take one and you can pass it all down.
No, I thought it was.
There's like 30-some pages to this report, but it gives you the same kind of information like per line, but it doesn't go as detailed as like the payroll, like what Terry was saying or whatever. But then it also breaks it down per month, so you can compare each month. It's very similar to the cash summary report you guys already get, but this literally shows you each individual line, like the maintenance line, the salary line, you know, whatever. So,
I'd still like just, if I'm allowed, I'd like to have that one.
It's like the same thing.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm good with this. I mean, I'm good. I mean, I can
The
zeros out.
appropriation
I
stuff?
can look at all of that. I'll just go through it if I have questions. I can see them.
Yeah, this will work.
Versus I'm
Okay.
I also talked about, the agenda that we have at the end of the month. You know, we go through, like say it's a motion to approve the ordinance number, da-da-da-da-da-da. Then we go through a motion to discuss, a motion to end discussion, a motion to do this, and all of that. When I was on the school board, we did similar to that, but it was so much easier. The person that was making the motion would make the motion and she would get a second. Then the person making the motion would just ask for discussion. You would do whatever the discussion you wanted to do, and then that person would ask the secretary or the treasurer to call the roll. And then you would pass that motion. We didn't go through, you know, all the other stuff.
I don't matter to me how we do it. I'm just doing it however it was.
I know.
I don't know if we have, if
That was Tom's
legally,
format. That's
if
Tom's
we have to do
format.
it that way. I have no idea. I don't know anything about
I
it.
don't think technically we have to do it that way. It was just easier to keep you guys
Yeah, I
on
mean,
Yeah,
task.
it
honestly, I
keeps
don't
people
mind
from
it.
missing steps, cause that started happening here.
I think
I
that's
know
what
with
Tom
Cherie,
wanted
we
to do.
never did it
I
that
would say,
way.
I've been reading other communities' minutes.
And they're doing it that way?
No, their minutes are like 2 pages. So their agendas are small, their minutes are small, like there's, just like the sunshine laws suggest, summary and straight to the point. So, I don't know.
I don't know, it just
I
seems like,
understand what you're saying, and I mean, for me, I don't care one way or the other, but I will say I do appreciate the fact that Katrina did that, because I do feel like we would get off task. It does make it longer, but I mean, I get it, but it doesn't matter to me how we do it, but Thank you.
we were just calling the roll 4 times for one motion. I just thought that would make it easier, but it's up
do
to
the
you
roll
guys.
call, maybe say all those things, but just do the roll call one time is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, so she's saying
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I mean,
our first read of resolution 2024-1, do a roll call. You know, after you get your second motion, and then Terry would say discussion,
Yeah.
then you guys would talk. And then when
gotcha.
she
Okay.
decides, or whenever you all say you're done, then she would say, roll
Roll
call
call.
please. And then, that's how she's explaining.
It would
It
make it
doesn't-
flow a lot easier. Quicker.
That's how we used to do it, but like, Max said, sometimes steps were skipped.
like what,
The discussion part,
Yeah,
discussion was skipped?
sometimes.
yeah, some people would just go to different things, I'm telling you, I've seen
Or
it
the
happen.
topics would
Yeah.
change, or,
Yeah.
it seemed like sometimes people didn't even know what they were voting on.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah,
that's
so-
the discussion part.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you would, you know, if you had a discussion and said, well, what's this for? You know, cause it's not, you just have the number, you don't know exactly, you know. But that, I mean, I'm just saying, trying to make it easier for your typing, your calling, our time, cause we're, you know,
The agendas are pretty much filed, it's like copy, paste, delete, whatever, but however you guys decide you want to handle that, it doesn't make a difference to
It
me.
don't matter to me either.
I like the way we do it only because I'm still new and it helps me to really, you know, understand what's going on or the process of something or whatever, you know. But that's all I've known, so I don't know. Maybe it would be easier the other way, I don't know.
I'm just,
We can try it the other way
You
next
think we-
couple months if you want and see.
Had a little cheat sheet that we all kept track of, I mean, it's all about discipline. That was the biggest thing we had is, we just go off topic like you guys said, and we need to be more disciplined. So,
So
I
are
agree
we
with you,
for
Terry.
going back to the way that we used to?
how about we try it for April? The end of the April meeting, at the April meeting?
I won't be here.
Oh, that's right.
I think that's fine.
yeah, we can still do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it.
When you
It'd
go,
be easier for us calling everything.
easier for me to take notes, that's for sure. If you do, are you gonna type up the agenda and everything? when you're
Yes.
not- Okay, and just type it up like that, and if we don't like it, we can go back in May. Okay,
Yeah,
is that okay
Good.
with everybody?
let's try it, yes.
All right, that's all I have.
Do you have something on the Cintas,
Yeah,
Terry,
something
the
about
Cintas
Cintas.
renewal?
Oh, that was more so me.
Okay,
So Cintas just turned in, the next contract. Last year, when you guys made the motion, I went back and looked when some of our presenters were talking. We had done the contract for a 2-year term, so there isn't really anything that we need to do. I just kind of wanted to let you guys know that it was up and that's the contract that
I
they
know I
gave me
have
on
it.
Wednesday, so. And it should be the same thing, so we were locked in for 2 years, so.
Oh, yeah.
all right, thank you. All right, Marilyn, safety and personnel.
I had a couple of questions. One about the ladies' night out, so 4 o'clock, you want us there?
So actually, I don't think I need anybody there.
Okay.
I mean, unless you wanna come.
You're good
Fine.
with setup and everything?
Yes, I've already started setting up this week.
Okay.
So, and I'm off tomorrow and I'm gonna be working on it tomorrow. So, I think I'm good. So,
Okay,
I appreciate it. Again, welcome to come if you wanna come, but I don't think I need any help.
okay, good. And then, one thing that I've seen that kind of disturbed me when we were talking about the image of the village, are these meth addict signs right on the corner of 303 and May. There are 3 of them for meth addiction. That says right when you're coming into town, we have a meth problem here. I don't know who put them there, who's in charge of that or what, but, I mean, I'm all for helping people with drug addiction and
Probably the
stuff,
rehab
but
place we have.
they need to have boundaries on where they can put
I
it,
don't think
you know?
it's
No,
bad.
Teddy didn't, they didn't do that.
Yeah, it's a different rehab, I think they were based out of Ravenna.
Yeah, cause I seen them in Ravenna
I would say it's
yesterday.
not just Windham,
Yeah,
Okay,
they're all over the place,
okay,
the methadone clinic stuff, right?
yeah, and it's that Bright Now or what, you know.
Yeah,
and-
bright side, right now, something like
Yeah,
that, yep.
did they ask you guys about that? The
They
police
came in and
department
dropped
or
up some
anything?
pamphlets, but they didn't ask for
No.
anything, they just kinda put those out
They
one day.
kinda just did
Yep.
their thing?
Yes.
Okay, I just didn't know if they approached you with it
I haven't
or
heard
anything.
none, nobody said anything to me.
Okay, so I just had a question, you know, about what's going on here, why are all these signs all of a sudden? If it's one, cool, you know, but,
And I, to be honest, I thought it was up to the property man, the property owner who puts that there, that's just what my
It is.
understanding was.
It is.
So if it's sitting in a,
is
you
it
have
on the
to,
tree lawn, or is that not?
If it's on 303, they own all that to the
Okay,
I don't think there's a.
okay, I see what you're saying, yeah. Okay, so I had a question about that, and then the other thing was, I was driving around yesterday, and, cause it was nice, you know, just checking stuff out. I don't get to the other end of the village very much. I mean, I live on Wolf, so if I don't have to go to the bank up there. I have been going to the senior center a lot though. So I'm driving up there where the more, you know, where you guys all live, where the main residential part is, driving around, tons of kids out, of course, cause it was nice. And I noticed a lot of houses had hoops right up on the curb, and the kids were in the street playing ball. And
Any new homes here?
I know we need courts, you know, for these kids. I know we do. Is there any place that we can, cause we were talking about that before, like by, baseball fields or that. Is there any way that we could somehow put like 2 courts over there? They can't get all the way down here to the park. You know, those kids, they wanna play up there by their house. I don't blame them, I get it, I'm a parent, I know. So, is there, I don't know if you guys had any ideas or how we could come up with something to maybe build a court or 2 right over in that area. I don't even know if there's any land available or if we own anything or
The
what.
school does.
Yeah, we
So at the Renaissance, there used to be
Right.
hoops outside.
Okay.
There, when we were younger, that used to be a
Right.
meeting spot.
That was it?
Everybody
Okay.
went. Like, I just told my daughter this yesterday. I was like, if you wanted to find somebody, you found them there at East
Okay.
Elementary. Like, that was, a lot of stuff went on there.
That was a nice court.
Yeah, but whenever the Renaissance bought it, they took out the hoops. It was like a pad on the side,
Okay,
and then the school owns that yard over there, so really we don't have nothing to do with any of that stuff.
okay,
And as for the hoops on the street, I mean, like, that's just always what people done, man. We just play.
okay.
I have a hoop outside my house, there's like 10, 20
Well,
kids
I
out there
get
all the
it,
time.
I get it, because their driveways are so small, there's
Right.
not enough room to put them up on top of the garage or up on, you know, where their parents are gonna be parking when they come home from work. I understand completely, I get it. I realized why they were there. I just wondered if there was a safer way that we could do something, you know, for these kids, because I'd hate to just hear people screaming, my kid got run over, people are flying down my street. You know, I don't know.
I could always go to the school board meeting and ask if the school would be interested in doing something like that. You said the school owns that property
The
there,
school
maybe
owns that
go to the
property.
council or school board meeting and ask.
So that and the cost of the courts themselves is very
Yeah.
substantial.
Well,
We've
it's-
been,
it's big, that's why.
dealing with
Just
that
trying to
already.
fix the
Right.
ones we have.
exactly.
We can't even get grants for that.
So unless we got a grant and the school board was on board with it and you got a company to donate the excavation and all that, it's far-fetched, but I love the idea, I brought that up before, putting a park in, because everybody in the new homes, they have to go all the way to this side of town.
Right,
And
those
it's
kids
not
aren't coming
feasible.
down here, they're not coming down here to play.
I mean, they
I don't
do,
think-
they do, for sure, I mean, I used to come over and play on the courts after school and stuff, but
When I was a
Yeah,
kid,
there are
everybody
some
would come all
kids that are
around
you
and,
can't drive.
Right,
right beside the school parking lot there.
yeah.
Those
That's
were
what
all
I was talking
courts
about.
there.
Right, that's what I said, that's where everybody hung
That's
out.
where-
And everybody would ride over there from all over town on
So,
their bicycles
what,
and play.
Just the schools board in general owns all that land, or one
Yeah,
particular?
the school owns
The
it.
school owns
How
it,
far
but I'm
does
just
the
saying, if
garage
you
see
wanted to
it?
try to connect
To
with
the-
somebody,
to
maybe
the
go to a
edge.
school board
Used to
meeting and
just
talk
be
to
a,
them and ask if.
A lake
To
there.
that pad,
Quarter-
so
Okay.
there's a,
Turn on
that,
and-
where the basketball court used to be on the side,
Mhm.
they own up until then the school has up until the sidewalk, well, they own the
Go
sidewalk.
to the fence.
And over,
Yeah, all
yeah,
the way
so
to the-
basically
yeah.
the fence and back.
So there was
yeah.
what, 1, 2,
There was
3
two-
basketball.
There's 2 courts and I believe like a 4 square and throw it up into the thing and it bounces, like, there's a couple different separate basketball type games closer to the
That
village.
we could play. But like David said, he had mentioned that, I mentioned that to the school, I just met with Arian last week and I mentioned, cause they're gonna bring their equipment, that's what, in a month and a half, 2 months. bringing that old equipment over, either they're gonna put it there, or I asked her if we could put it over there like David suggested, and she said she would ask the board if they wanna do something like that. But once again, like you said, there's, you know how much goes into that, they gotta
Would it
They
have
gotta
to
build all that up.
would it have to be hoops that are cemented in?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
liability
Cause then,
issues.
yeah, you get these kids, everybody wants to dunk, so you get a kid jumps up there, pulls that
Hanging
down.
on it, yeah.
Yeah, night.
Yeah, cause those courts were put in when they redid East Elementary, and I was in 4th grade or 3rd grade,
Okay.
so many years ago, and I think the reason why they were taken
Yeah,
down.
what I was talking about is right next to the high school. There were
Yeah.
courts all
Oh,
there, there were
yeah.
1,
Yeah.
2,
Yeah, beside your house.
3, yeah.
Oh,
three.
yeah.
Where they had the bonfire down
In the
there,
back parking lot.
Yeah,
and then the asphalt deteriorated.
and there used to be a light
Oh,
there,
that's
they
right.
put
Yeah.
quarters in, you could play till after dark.
Mhm.
Memories.
Oh, yeah. That's my childhood playing there.
All right, Marilyn, anything else?
I don't think so, except this has nothing to do with safety. I went to the senior center, been making a little bit of headway with some of the residents there, getting to know them. We colored eggs for Easter. On Good Friday, I went up there for a little while. I took all the supplies, and a couple ladies showed up. I took some pictures, gonna try and get them up on our Facebook page, but it was a cute little
Nice.
activity, so
Nice,
it was
very
kinda
nice.
fun.
Good. Awesome. Very good. All right, Cheryl, Service Committee.
All I can say is that I'm gonna be helping the police department when they start painting. And I'm glad to be doing it for them. And then I'm gonna help with the, community cleanup. And, Bobby called me today and said that they got water in the bathroom here at the courts, the park, and I can clean that too.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
David, Economic Development.
So I just had a chance, stopped in the gun shop and was talking to the, people there, and I guess Laura Abzio is the president of the Garrettsville Area Chamber of Commerce. I was not aware of that. We got to talking and we had a really good conversation. She wants to meet more and potentially bring Windham into it because it's Garrettsville area. She made that a big emphasis. Bounce ideas back and forth to try and get stuff into our area, but also help, them. It's like a bounce back and forth kind of thing. So I'll be getting together with her and seeing where we can go with that.
Do
It
they
sounds pretty promising.
Bring a shop into town or
Just
just work with
them to see what we can do,
Like
because her big
networking
thing
with
was,
them and,
yeah, her big thing was save our little towns.
Sure.
Try and keep them and make them thrive, so.
All right, thank you, David. Planning Commission, I have nothing. Do you have anything on that? Okay. Police?
So we are making progress in the new building. We've had contractors out last week, giving us estimates for the build in the locker room, and also the bathroom. We began putting in some of our IT infrastructure this week and doing some cleaning in the building, and next week we should probably be ready to start painting inside the building.
So how long, so after that, then what's that, a week? Is that 2 weeks? When do we think we'll be moving?
I think realistically, we're probably looking at, I would say possibly the end of May. There's quite a bit there to paint. We still have some minor electrical stuff and things like that to do. So, end of May, beginning of June, somewhere in there, I think would be realistic.
Sounds good to me.
Anything else?
That's all I
All
have.
right, thank you. Chris, zoning.
Did actually 2 more permits. One was for a right-of-way. They had to repair a utility line over in the new homes. And we got that all okay. I do want to bring up, we have a fence going up before anyone calls me. We have a fence going up. Ryan and I discussed it. We went through the ordinance over by the old Windham Clinic. The guy is allowed to do it. He's got his permit, he's approved, and he's working on it. It looks really pretty. So the ordinance does say, and I think it's chapter 1165, whatever, he is allowed to have it. He's good to go, so no one needs to call me on that. Let's see, I went to,
You're
No one needs to
learning
call
quick,
me.
boy.
I told you she's doing
You're
good.
learning quick.
And it's chapter 11, 71, 73, 74. You can look it up and read it. He's good to go. Went to a lot of meetings, well, several meetings, meeting a lot of people. There's not a whole lot that applies to us. These meetings apply to townships, but I did hear if anyone lives in the township, I guess on the board or on the table, they're trying to approve the pitch of accessory buildings. Over here in town, I think they're 15. We can only go 15. But they're in the township, they can go 16 high, and now they're trying to approve 20 feet high. So that's, I took note of that. If anyone wants to build something outside, you know. And one more thing, I threw it to Mac. One of the actually this was at our freedom meeting. We had a guy come in from NOPAC, and I'm sure all of you guys got letters on changing electric because of all the things. Well, I didn't really want to get involved in that, but it's actually quite interesting. So this guy spoke to us in NOPAC versus Ohio Edison. They were offering like $6, $6.15, I think, for kilowatts, and you can get 12-month to 24-month plan locked in. So I thought, well, let me go home and call Ohio Edison to see what I'm paying. Well, I'm paying $9.98 a kilowatt, and I'm thinking, but I mean, it's kind of scary to change. I get it, because I haven't done it neither, but I just want to throw it out, because everyone has to pay electric. But that's a big difference. The only thing I think, I actually Googled this, the only bad thing about switching to NOPAC, it is cheaper, but sometimes the billing gets a little messed up. But
It's 2 bills a month.
is that what it is? I don't have it, so, but I mean, that price that's a big difference. So.
I would recommend you go to apples, better choice.
Yeah,
And you can choose your own, so that's what you're doing, is you're choosing your supplier.
right,
You're better off going there instead of, and seeing what you can get, because
Right.
some of those are fixed, some of those are, you
Right.
know, variable, there's monthly
Right.
fees, there's a
Right.
lot of stuff that goes
I
into
do
that.
every year.
well, and another thing, you have to make sure your town is available, and NOPAC was available out by me, so I thought.
We
We tried to do that years
Yeah.
ago,
Yeah, we did.
for the whole village.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
If you could, do that, everyone goes to that, you're gonna have good savings, and
Yeah.
people are opposed to it.
They voted it down.
They
They
voted
did?
it down, they wanted
Big
They
brother.
wanted individual choice,
oh,
they didn't wanna be, even if it's cheaper, they
okay,
don't want,
It's
the
scary
same
to
thing with
change,
garbage.
I was
Uh,
gonna say,
clean,
it's like contracting out garbage for the
yeah.
whole
Yeah.
village.
Well, people
Yeah.
want
I don't want that either.
Whoa,
Right.
whoa, 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 whoa. Alright, let's slow down.
Beat me.
Let's slow down.
It was
Let's
coming.
slow down.
what happened?
You could feel it.
Everybody talking to me, this is
Oh.
how the minutes get messed up.
And hey, last but not least, I did wanna say, I spoke with a business owner yesterday, and Mr. Mack is definitely getting, commended on a lot of stuff set by a trustee yesterday at the meeting. And he brought up the mayor and Windham, how good you're doing. I said, yes, he is. We just gotta get behind him and support him. So, Mac, you're doing a great job.
And he's going to the Lions Club.
That's the end for me.
All right, thank you, Chris.
Yep.
All right, housing, the Mel.
I just had one thing. I went on an inspection today, and a resident asked about their driveway, but the driveway is out. It's 9502 community. So the problem is, it's a big hole in front of their driveway, but that driveway comes out to the street. So last year we ran into this situation. I said, if they said it was your job to do it, they said the committee or the council said that it was their job to fix it. Well, they're saying that it's you guys' job to fix it. So I'm just wondering, where is the line for them to replace that hole? Cause it's a big hole going into their driveway, but it's right there on the curve, right there where the street starts.
That's one thing that's went back and forth, you're right.
Yeah.
Because I used to do it a little different than what they're doing it now. That particular one, I mean, we should determine that and find out. That'd be a great job.
And we'll get just a straight answer to.
But But like, that's one of the long roads that, when we apply for the OPWC, we wanna get that one done, so that would be taken care of there. But if it's a big hole, just for courtesy, we got tons of regrind, and it wouldn't be nothing for Rob to take some down there, fill it in for him, cause it's really not gonna cost us nothing, we have mounds of regrind.
They would be
Maybe
happy.
for something like that,
Yeah, they would definitely be happy. 'Cause
yeah.
It
You
was,
guys are
it was
okay
a
with
nice
that,
size
I mean-
last year.
You know what I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you?
What?
He's gonna take care of it.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I got.
All right, thank you, Mel.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan.
I don't have nothing other than what we've already talked about. Just one thing I'd add to what Chris was saying, I went and got my taxes done today. Casey Timmons, did my taxes this year, and I guess she helps with the books or whatever for the township, and she said she did get on them, like, they appreciated that you showed up to their meeting, and she said now they gotta switch feet, like now, you know, she said she's really pushing to say, okay, if you really wanna work with the village, and they're coming to your meetings, then you in turn need to maybe show up at some of ours. So she said she was pushing, so, positive, that's all I got.
Man, all this coming from a guy that doesn't do anything.
That's horrible. It's horrible.
This is
Any subjects, council, guest?
I forgot, I picked these up at the health department too. I don't know if it applies, I'm sure someone knows somebody around here, but they're giving away car seats and they're giving away free cribs at the health department for anyone, you know, with babies, maybe some of these young people around here, I don't know. But anyway, you can reach out to the health department and they're giving free stuff, and those are probably quite pricey these days.
Is that something we could put on the site? Is that
Yeah.
something we should put on the
I
site?
tell you what, if any
tell you what,
one
they're
of my
not
kids
cheap.
have another kid, I don't know,
Let you have
Hey,
a
Brian, here you go.
We'll go get you a free one.
All
They're
right,
not cheap.
No, we know that.
I have a couple things.
Well, okay, go
Okay,
ahead.
sorry, I
Oh,
thought
no,
you
no,
said
go ahead, we
any
gotta
other-
go back to Parks and Rec when we get done with this, so we gotta circle back, so.
The update on the sewer superintendent position, we were supposed to discuss that at committee. Are we closing it on Indeed? Is
It's
he
on
staying?
Indeed.
Is he going part-time? What's the deal?
It's on Indeed. I guess if we had found the right candidate, that's qualified. I've gotten a couple different ones, but, I know the gentleman you, referred, we talked about that. But the plan was, I'm gonna go take the test. Billy's gonna stick around part-time. And then we'll just go from there. If we find the right candidate, then, you know, that's always subject to change. Nothing really about, I mean, I wanna sit down and talk to him, but honestly, him having like 4 or 5 different, I know everybody, there's two sides to every story, but that's just
was
kind of.
curious because
The only thing I wanna be careful about, and the thing that I don't wanna do is bring in somebody else, and then Billy breaks away and we lose him, and then this guy just doesn't like it, it's not a fit, and he leaves, you know what I mean? So I really wanna, I just wanna make sure that we make the right move and we just do it the first time, you know what I mean?
I understand completely. I was just making sure, like, if we're not gonna hire somebody, we need to take it down, or we just gonna draw this out. Like,
Well-
we need to be
Well, for now,
saying what
because
we're
you never
doing.
know, I might not even pass the test, who knows? So we're gonna leave it up and see what happens, but, I feel pretty confident about the test, by the way, so. But, I don't think it's just time to take it down quite yet, you know?
What service are we looking for, use for, to find candidates?
Indeed.
I put it on Indeed, I think Katrina had put it on some other different places. I think she had put it in the paper, she said, or,
Yeah,
how long?
it's in the paper, it's on a Portage County job website, it's on Indeed. I looked into ZipRecruiter, I even looked into Indeed as well before however it got up there. You're looking at almost, like, the cost to put it on ZipRecruiter is insane. It's like a couple $100 just for a month. And then they don't even do a month, it's like a 3-month contract, so it's like $800, $600 or something. It's quite a bit of money. So I don't know if you guys want to move forward with that, or.
I think we're good, you know.
Does, is there like a professional site for,
Well, on Indeed, it'll put it in that, like, so you go in, like, if you're looking for a wastewater position, it'll put it in that category.
okay.
Class 2 superintendent is gonna have to look for a wastewater position because, you have to have a class 2, and if you're
Right.
not there, then there's no,
Yeah,
you can't.
it's a hard,
Yeah.
position to fill. And
I
if you were a
did-
young person starting out,
Yeah,
that's a good field to get in,
yeah.
cause there's a big demand.
So if you have somebody that's water 1 and sewer 2, why not at least give them an interview? Because that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to that.
Didn't you say you had 2 candidates that at least were certified to do that?
I had 1, 2, yes.
2, yeah, you
Yes.
said last time 2.
But the one was Danny Spore,
No, you said you had 2,
and there was another one that wasn't qualified. He didn't have no license, but there was Danny Spore and the gentleman, what's his name?
His name is Brandon.
Brandon, yeah.
but I thought you said we had 2 candidates and one was from PA.
That one, I don't think he had a license. I don't know. I have to look again.
Yeah, if we get
Yeah,
an
maybe.
application and they are certified, I think we should at least interview them to
Right,
see.
right. And just go through that process and.
Yeah, I mean, he might
we-
not, but
Yeah,
he could be a good fit.
yeah,
PA is not gonna be a good fit because, well,
Sometimes people move.
well, I get that, but you would have to be willing to because wastewater is not like water. If
Yeah.
it rains, you
Yeah.
gotta go.
Yeah,
And that's just the gist of it.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
not
like
a-
water's
yeah.
coming, you can't stop it.
yeah.
so it's not
It's
an
no
8 to
way.
4 job.
No,
It's not.
it's not. It's nothing like water. It's a whole different beast.
The other thing I had, and this goes back to you asking for reports and stuff and familiarization with the UAN system. They just had the annual conference in Columbus in March. Were you able to attend that, Trina?
Not for the amount of money that they were charging for it.
How much is it?
I don't remember what it was off the top of my head, but it was over $100, and then you have to pay for hotel. To be down there was a multiple day thing.
Okay, cause I know we talked in the past about having to go to classes, and I know almost everybody in Portage County goes to that. I was talking to our fiscal officer, and they were even asking where our village fiscal officer was and why she wasn't attending, so. It's
We
being
do
questioned in
tend
the
to-
county, so.
We do tend to, people send in the past.
I think it'd be phenomenal to go to, because the first day is actually for new fiscal officers only. So, and then it's a 3-day conference after that.
Yeah, it's pretty
So
much,
once a year.
it's an annual.
Yeah.
Once a
Yep.
year.
Sarita used to always go to.
Yeah, she went to that. We'll pay for
She
it.
went 1 year, every year she had to go to something.
Yeah,
Well, it gives you your CE or whatever they need for it every year, 17 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
That's all I have for me. I'll talk to you guys about something later, but.
Okay. All right, so I know we're gonna go into executive session, but can I just go back to?
Parks and Rec.
Okay, so do I need to call Parks and Rec to order? Okay. All right. Do I need to say a time? 8:07, I'd like to call Parks and Rec to order.
Sherry,
Yes.
Cheryl, David,
Here.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the March 12th, 2024 Parks and Recreation Committee meeting notes. Cheryl or David, second?
Yeah, seconds.
Sherry,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
David?
Yes.
All right, so we have the event on Saturday. We talked about that already. I think it's gonna be a really good event, getting a lot of acknowledgement on it, so really excited about that. Marilyn Dearheart did contact me. The flowers should be ready in about a month.
Okay.
So, we'll have those, available to start hanging up. And then we need to talk about the fun in the sun. So I'd like for everybody to take a task and be responsible for whatever that task is. So we need people to start looking for vendors. We need somebody to manage the hot dog eating contest. We need somebody to look for music. We need somebody to figure out about the fireworks. We need somebody looking for food trucks. We need somebody to manage the car show. So
I'll take the car show. My husband will just be over the moon about that.
I like to eat, so I'll do the hot dog.
you wanna take care of the, okay.
Help, Scott.
It's okay.
What?
What, eating them?
I will tell you that I do have one vendor already. I was at an event and it is called Toasted Travelers. And they do all different types of grilled cheese sandwiches with all different types of things on them. So they are going to attend the event, but I don't wanna be the sole owner of looking for vendors. So,
What date was that again?
July 20th,
I can help you with that,
okay.
Oh,
cause I don't know how much I'll be able to be there. I'll have a new one at home.
Yep,
Do you guys want live bands or?
we're open for any discussion on anything that you.
First pitch, see if they can do donation.
Yes.
That's how I
Well, we
approach
got,
it.
yeah, we
Last year, we
had
had somebody go in
$5,000.
and pay, and we paid a lot of money
Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
so I could've
Or-
got up there and did better.
Yeah, that, I'm on.
Or relatively
I can send you.
cheap. No, please. So Ryan, you may have something, yeah, food trucks
Kids
and,
events too, I'm gonna do the
you're at
kids
kids
games.
event, that's
Yeah.
right, okay. Terry, what are you thinking?
I was gonna call some vendors. I know a couple.
And also, the event this weekend, I have 15 total vendors. I will talk to each one of them too about participating in this as well. And they're, as far as craft vendors and those type of things, selling those type of things, so.
So the last time we had the event, they were all just at tables outside. Do you think we should get a big tent to put them under? Possibly.
Sure, we can look into it.
Sounds
I don't
decent,
know.
yeah, weather-wise, yeah.
There,
Sun, weather, all their stuff sitting out. Individual little tents blow away in the wind, and there's a lot of things that can go bad.
I know in the past we've rented them from Rural Crowd, they would come out and set it up and then they'll come get it and take it away too, they were pretty reasonable for the village.
Brian Stanley normally does the poker tournament. I can reach out to Brian, I have his number, to see if he's interested in doing it out that day. What about fireworks? We had some conversation around fireworks the last meeting, what,
I don't, the fire chief just told me they've been calling him already.
Yeah, I gave his number out. So if there was a company,
oh, that's right,
That
you,
was
Katrina, was
asking.
one telling us.
yeah, they were gonna talk to the fire chief to like do a permit to give us an actual quote, cause without that first step, they couldn't give us a quote.
Alright,
That's what he
So-
just told me that.
I didn't know they reached out, tried contacting him, so I haven't heard back from them since I gave the number,
Okay.
but, so if he could return their call, that would be
Well, he
awesome.
said he's talked to him, so he didn't
Okay.
say what it was.
And with the food stuff, I'll talk to the fire chief just to make sure those need inspected for the fire department. Like when they get here and make sure the propane tanks are
Gotcha.
secure and all that.
okay,
So I'll just make sure he's aware that all that'll need to be done as well.
alright.
I'm not taking on fireworks, I just started the process.
No, you're fine, no,
Clarify.
you're fine. I knew somebody talked about it, I wasn't sure who it was, but I thank you for that
I thought it was
clarification.
I'll get with Nick to see where he's at with that. Sam was gonna try to do it, so the,
Sam told me no.
right, cause when you start looking into the MPA requirements and all that, you gotta carry $1 million liability bond just to be able to set them off. And then you have to be registered with the Ohio Department of Commerce, which State Fire Marshal's office falls underneath that. And the permitting program or process and all that, there's a lot of paperwork that needs to be done. You have to have racks, you have to have tubes, it all has to be secured. There's a lot of work that goes into it. It's very expensive for one man or two people just to do one show for $5,000 to $10,000 worth of fireworks.
Alright.
Makes sense.
How much room for the cars do we have? And
So we were gonna do the street this year, right?
so
We're
just
We've done it in the
line them up
past,
on Main
yeah.
Street,
Yeah, right over here.
okay,
Yep.
alright.
I think somebody needs to contact the police
The
department to get a permit.
Cause we gotta
They
get
have
this shut down.
I think we talked about the last time
Yeah.
I was
Are
here
we
too.
doing a temporary liquor license or
Yes.
anything?
Yep.
I have the permits for that too.
And I can do that. Alright. That's all I have. As far
Just
as,
to make sure we are moving it back to the street, right? It's not
Correct.
in the parking.
correct.
The Legion used to sell it to us for cost, the beer.
I don't remember where we could get it last time.
I don't know
What
about
if,
last
you
year,
have a
but the
beer truck?
Legion, the
No.
Legion used to give the beer for what they paid for it, which was like 40-some cents a can back then.
Okay.
what if, just to kinda switch back a little bit, what if we use the park as the car show area?
You can't put,
I just wonder if people would wanna, I don't know,
Just like right there in that little area.
where the,
a lot of
beginning
cars
part of it.
that were made back in that era,
They're low.
they're
they can't
low
go
and
over.
they can't come up there, because when I had it down
They
there,
can't come right there in the parking lot?
because it's low riders.
Low.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
How low can you go, David?
alright, anything else from Parks and Rec?
I don't think so.
Alright,
Oh, yes, sorry. I guess it's maybe not Parks and Rec. You're talking about the flowers, American flags this year, getting some new ones that are respectable and look good,
Yeah, we need to.
and made in USA.
Our flags are rough. Last year, when I first come, I made them take them down and get that up there. We need new flags. Those ones need to go to the Legion for proper disposal.
If you want, I can get you
I
some
would.
quotes.
I would really,
They can get them from the Legion too.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they'll order them.
They'll order them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cause I know the flag store up in, I think in Newberry
Yeah, the
is
flag
where I
store.
usually get them, but,
We
Check.
compare prices.
yeah, absolutely.
Check with them down there.
I think it's really nice when you drive down 303 or even North Main and you see all those
Sure.
flags and the
Yeah,
flowers.
Yeah, for
Yep.
sure, for sure.
We were definitely very light on the flags last year, and
Some of them,
Disappointing.
some of them you didn't want
Right.
We do need new ones.
I
alright,
like them on
Bring that
East
up,
Center
I'm
because
glad
it's
you did.
303.
Yep.
People
you
come.
good, David?
I am.
Alright, 8:16, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn Parks and Rec.
Second,
Sherry,
Yes.
Cheryl, David,
yes.
Sherry, I got something to say.
Okay, that's fine.
The reason, the low riders, they can't go up there.
We get that. We understand.
All right, but I'm just saying,
We get it.
they have
It's
them,
fine.
they have, the last time I put the car show on, they went like this,
Okay.
down there, because it was easier, you know?
Alright.
And
That's fine, we'll block off the roads and
Yeah.
let the residents know and all that stuff,
Yeah.
so.
Are we doing executive?
We are,
Okay.
I'm out.
alright, see you later.
Good night.
I need to make a motion to adjourn the committee of the whole.
no.
I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session
To discuss.
to discuss wages or
conversation.
financial compensation.
I'll second that.
Who all are you?
Yeah.
Well, all members,
Yeah, so that's been brought
It's compensation for your employees.
I went by there and I'm like, oh, they finally got rid of them. I didn't see it. I'm still trying to reach that.
Sure.
That's the
The
last
woman
one.
was sitting in the living room yesterday as I drove by and I was.
I did not see them. But we'll get to that.
No, she didn't get a raise.
That's because she started in.
That's what I'm saying, we gotta,
Yeah.
let's make sure she gets
I'll call
that.
you.
All right.
He was our thing. Oh, wait.
Yeah,
Well, it should be the council members and.
I'll be here just about all day tomorrow, so.
Yeah.
Oh, let me turn this off.
I drive by there.
Sherry, I'm gonna call you.